Hey, welcome to the Mobility Library. So this is really where we want to start from, is talking about our 3 points of support while we're doing all movements. So our core, you may have heard of core strength, core engagement. Our core is basically the center of our balancing point in our body, and it's really important that when we do all movement that we have an engagement in our core, because it is our stabilization for our spine, so that when we're actually moving we're not distressing the spine by loading upon it. So if we're not engaging through our core, what happens is we get compression through our spine, and that's when we run into trouble in getting back pain and pain in our hips, knees and feet and joints and so on. So it's really important that when we move with this awareness of keeping our core engaged. And there's 3 parts to this core engagement. So some of you might know anatomically, we've got 3 parts to the spine. We've got our cervical spine, we've got our thoracic through our mid-spine, and we've got our lumbar down the bottom. And all 3 of these parts need to be supported. So we're going to start like a tree from bottom up. So it starts with, in our base, that we want to keep our lumbar nice and supported. And the way we do that is we activate this muscle called the transverse abdominis. It sits like a corset around our internal abdominal structure, and it actually links into the back of the spine. And so the way we engage it is really, it's as simple as like when you really need to pee or do a poo, really as glamorous as it sounds, it's about engaging and holding that in. So feeling that drawing feeling in of holding yourself back from weeing or doing a poo. And the best engagement we can get with our TA is if we draw that in nice and slow. So don't do a hard, fast contraction, but if we all like together, we can try it now, just on an out breath. So take a full in breath, and on that out breath, for the full duration of the out breath, see if you can get a nice slow contraction. And that way we engage the corset right around from the front through to the back. So that's the first part, is getting our lumbar support through TA engagement. The second part is through our thoracic, through our mid-back, mid-spine. And we do that by actually keeping our shoulders pinned down and back. So rather than being, if we accentuate the opposite of that, that's forward and up. And in this position, our shoulder especially is not supported. It's not in a supported position. It's a bit like if you imagine the shoulder joint's like a ball in socket. It's like we're pulling it out of the socket joint, and so when we move with it out of the socket joint, we create this hinging that's going to actually start damaging the joint over time. So what we want to do is we want to actually keep our shoulders down and pull them back, and it's like we're holding, if you can imagine, like you're holding a credit card between your scapula, between your shoulder blades. And that's mainly where we want to be in all positions throughout all movements, unless specifically so we're pushing out of scap retraction. But that's really where we want to be when it comes to our thoracic spine. So that's number 2. Number 3 is that we want to keep our cervical spine protected. And that's quite simple in that we just want to keep our head aligned nice and straight throughout all movements. So under tension, under load, if you move your neck, you're actually going to start causing some cervical damage, possibly through the upper part of your spine. So keep your head straight and level at all times when you're training. So even when you're doing movements such as bending over, you want to actually not look up, but keep your head in that neutral position. So keeping our head neutral is the 3rd key. And that's really it, guys. So if you can think about that throughout all the movements that you're doing, then you'll keep your spine safe, you'll keep yourself injury free, and that transfers down through into the hips, down into our knees and into our feet, keeping everything nice and safe. So I hope that helped with that point made. Learn the movements now for your WODs, and yeah, have a few practice runs through. I'll see you guys in the workout.